In this video, I'm going to show you how I set up my Soundcraft Signature 22 MTK. Check it out. What's up everybody, my name is Matthew Stratton, helping you create music, and on this channel I do setup videos, reviews, tutorials, just like this one. If you're new here, consider subscribing. If you've been following my channel, you know I recently purchased the Soundcraft 22 MTK and I unboxed it on the channel. So what I want to do is kind of show you how I have everything set up in this video and kind of give you a couple reasons why I purchased this particular mixer. Okay, so here it is, the Soundcraft Signature 22 multi-track. So what I have here is a 22 channel analog mixer with a digital interface. What that means is I have all the inputs here. Every single one of these inputs can go into my software on the computer. Okay, so therefore I'll have 22 individual inputs, plus on this particular model I have 23 and 24, which is the master input into the software. Okay, so I'm an MPC Live user, and recently I decided to go into the software side of things. I had been using it as standalone to make all of my tracks, but now I'm going to start to record things inside of the box because it gives me an opportunity to use a lot more audio tracks. And on top of that, there are just several different things that you can do in the software that you can't do with the hardware, but I'll get into that in a different video. So in order for me to get the most out of this, I wanted to have individual tracks to be able to track out into the software, because I have all this different gear that I have inputted into the mixer here. So if you look here, I have a microphone inputted here, and this does have phantom power right there. I have an instrument line, so I can input my guitar into this one right here. And these four inputs actually have a high Z input, so when I click that, you know, it makes it to where it's okay for the guitar to get in there. It gives it a nice strong signal. It sounds really good. So I did use this mixer on my last song. If you haven't seen the video for it, it was a collaboration video. I'll go ahead and I'll put a card right now in the video so you can check that out, okay? But I did use this mixer and these inputs to record the guitar in that particular song. Okay, right here, this is my Moog Minotaur. So this right here is my Waldorf Pulse 2. This is actually coming mono out of the Pulse 2. Really cool synthesizer. All right, right here, this is my Blofeld. This right here is my Analog 4. This right here is actually coming from my Electron Digitone. This right here is actually an effects return. Right here, 19 and 20 is an effects return. And then 21 and 22, I don't have anything yet, but I'm more than likely going to use my turntable and plug it in there because it does have, you know, the RCA inputs right there. So that pretty much covers all the inputs that I have going on right now. So let me go ahead and move on to the outputs. So right here, you'll have 5 outputs. If you can see these are actually balanced outputs. So right here, I have a balanced cable. This is actually going to a separate mixer interface. That way I can do live streams. Okay, so what this auxiliary out enables me to do is basically turn up the auxiliary outputs here, and the master one is here. But all these green knobs are auxiliaries. So anything I want to put into my live stream, all I have to do is turn up the knobs, right? And then that's going into my live stream. And I can pick pre or post. So if I want to put a little EQ on my microphone, for example, I can, you know, boost a little bit of the low mids, a little bit of the highs. Say I want to take out a little bit of the mids from my microphone, I could do that all right here. Send that into my other interface that's going to my live stream. And at the same time, I can have music coming out of these 2 channels right here from my MPC software, or any of these channels actually coming from my MPC software. And then I can use all of my analog gear through here, all of this, whatever I want, boom, boom. All I have to do is turn up the auxiliary and that can go into my live stream. Very cool. All right, so now I have actually 3 dedicated auxiliary outputs, and that's this row here with the 3 green knobs. Right here is actually a 4th and 5th auxiliary output with these blue knobs. Now the reason why these are blue is because they're actually effects right here built into it. There are built-in effects, and you know, these are Lexicon effects. You have some nice reverbs, choruses, phasers, tape delays, all kind of cool effects on this mixer, okay? And then basically I could send the effects from each individual channel with this knob here, or either of these blue knobs, because there's two layers of effects, so I could send effects that way and then that way, and then the effects can actually get sent into its, you know, the next effector track too. You know what I'm saying? So I can send this effects track to this effects track and this effects track to that track if I wanted to. It's all kind of cool like that, you know what I'm saying? That's all the options that I have there. Okay, so that covers the auxiliary outputs. Right here I have my balanced XLR outputs. You know, these are going into my speakers over here. Okay, so that's pretty cool that way. This right here is group 1 and 2. This right here is group 3 and 4. I don't have anything in 3, 4, but 1 and 2 is actually going into an effects processor. Right here, you can see the red lights right there. So that's pretty cool. So basically, if I want some effects to go into here, all I have to do is click a button right there, 1 and 2, and then that sends this signal out through the board 1 and 2 into my effects processor. And then from the processor, it's actually getting returned into 19 and 20. So it's pretty cool that way. I'll give you an example of that in 1 minute here. All right, I just wanted to cover the basics right now. All right, and then right here is a headphone output. Okay, there's only one headphone output on here, but if you wanted to, you could use these auxes, send that to a headphone amplifier, and you know, and get multiple headphone outputs that way. Right here is an effects mute. Okay, so if I wanted to mute the effects that are built in, you know, with a foot pedal, I could do that there, which is pretty cool. All right, and then all these preamps, if you look here, are phantom powered. So I click that, you know, that's going to give me some phantom power. This right here is a USB power. It's really built for a light. I could put a light in there and then have it hanging over. And if I were in a dark room, you know what I'm saying? I can have access to all these parameters with that light, which is really cool. Now, moving right along, okay, so kind of want to show you how I got this thing set up, all right? So basically, I have all these inputs going into here. So if I wanted to, I could program my MPC Live, have everything coming out of all of my synths into here and record the master track, right? And I could do a jam that way. Or I could use the software and actually compose something within the software and the synths, and you know, kind of have this hybrid setup, which is what I'm using this for, okay? So if you check it out, I have 22 tracks, right? And I have a master output. So all of these tracks, plus the master output, 23 and 24, can get sent into the software. This is really, really cool. So I can record my live session, right? And then go back and do EQs and compressions and whatever I want in the software if I wanted to do it that way. Or, you know, I can actually spend time on each individual part, compose everything, and then record each thing individually one at a time, using one track at a time in my software, or 2 tracks at a time, 3 tracks at a time. I could pick as many tracks as I want to in the software. That's really cool. And it works with the MPC software, really cool. Another cool thing about this mixer, right? Not only does it have those outputs, you can see right here, this is the USB cable. This is sending the outputs, and it's also taking input from the software. So if you look, there's a button right here. It says USB return, USB return, USB return, USB return. All of these particular channels have USB returns. So this makes this mixer really interesting and unique, where I could track everything out. Say I wanted to track everything out, right? Boom, 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 track everything out. I could bring all of those tracks back into the mixer, EQ it, use my outboard effects, use my effects here, right? And say I'm happy with that mix, I can send all of that through the master and then record that back into the software. So that's really, really cool. All right, so let me give you an example, right? Right here I have a track loaded. A buddy of mine was like, hey, I want you to record some chunky guitars so I can throw it in the song. I was like, sure. So this is what I came up with, right? All right, so all that is a drum kit in the MPC software and 4 different guitars. So I got the guitars layered up, right? And then I took the guitars, I put all the guitars into a sub mix, okay? So what I did is I have the drums going into here on these two channels, and I have them panned hard left, hard right, okay? And then I got that sub mix on these two channels. So basically outputs 1 and 2 are going here from the software, from the MPC software, and then 3 and 4 are going here and from the MPC software, all right? And this has the drums, this has the guitar. So check it out. And I'll show you, if I unpress these, it takes all that out, right? So I'll push play on the MPC, you don't hear anything. And I click it back in. Boom, I got all that back into the mixer here, right? So let me show you something. So say I was like, I had everything leveled out in the software and I was like not feeling the EQs of the software. I could bring back the mix here. And now keep in mind I have 22 channels. This is just an example. Beef up that bass drum if I wanted. All right, it's a little exaggerated, but you get the idea, right? If I wanted to beef up that bass drum, I could do that. I could take out some of the cymbals, you know what I'm saying? If I wanted to mess with the guitars, check it out. All right, so you kind of get the point. I can EQ it right there on the board, okay, using the 4-band EQ. Really cool, you know what I'm saying? And then I could take that, say I was happy with that, I could just play the track through that EQ and then record it from the master, and then I'm good to go that way. All right, so let me go ahead and mute these tracks. All right, and let me give you an example of my drum machine. All right, so I got my drum machine right here. All right, just a little generic beat, right? But here's the point of this, right? So I got that coming through channel 15 and 16. All right, so this is another reason why this mixer is cool. So it's coming into 15 and 16. So the analog 4 is going into 15 and 16. That's coming through these EQs. And keep in mind, I can EQ it or whatever. And it's going into this channel, all right? Now, what I can do with this is send this out into an effects processor. How do you do that? Check this out. Here, you got a bunch of buttons. You got a mute button. You got a pre-fader level button. If you want to check your levels on the meter here. That's one thing about this mixer. It doesn't have individual meters. You got to use this one master meter. But you can check your individual levels with that button. All right, so you got a master send, which is this button. So that's going into the master mix. You got a send for your group 1 and 2 right there, which is controlled by these two faders, okay? And then you get a group 3 and 4 right there, which is controlled by these two faders. Now, remember when I showed you, groups 1 and 2 are coming out right here, all right? So groups 1 and 2 are actually going into my effects right here. Okay, so why is this relevant? Why is this cool? I'll show you. So I click this button, right? It's going into 1 and 2. I got 1 and 2 turned up. I'll hit play. That's the dry signal, right? Watch this. Unmute 19 and 20, where I got these effects. Right? A little reverb. A lot of reverb. A little filter reverb. All right, so you can see I now effectively have an effects processor hooked up to my mixer here. I can send any of these channels to my effects by just clicking that button. Any of them. How cool is that, right? So let me show you this. I can take the dry signal out of the mix too. Check it out. All right, dry signal's in there. That's the dry signal. That's both, right? Let me put this on here, right? That's both. Check this out. I can take that out of the master. Now you can see I only have the affected signal coming through here. So this is the effects return, right? I can control that level and everything right there. Check it. Get a little reverb again. See what I'm saying? If I wanted to bring the dry signal back in, that's one of the pluses about this mixer. It does have those routing options. All right, so I'm using groups 1 and 2 because I just want to have the simplicity of pushing a button and sending the effects, right? You can use your auxiliary outs or whatever, but this is the way I chose to do it for now. Now on to my final point about the setup of this mixer. So I'm using the MPC Live, all right, or the MPC software. It doesn't matter if you got the Live, X, Touch, whatever, Renaissance. If you're using the MPC software, you do not have any routing options for sidechaining. With this mixer and these outputs, these auxiliary outputs or whatever, I could send that into this compressor right here. This is the Alesis 3630 compressor. It's a dual channel compressor, so I could have 2 monos or stereo compression. Check it out. You can see right here, got the input, output, and then the sidechain option. So basically, I got sidechain capabilities right here. So that's why this setup's going to change. But yeah, this solves any sidechain compression abilities that the MPC doesn't have. And you can use whatever compressor you want, right? This one was only like, $40, $50 US off of eBay. Simple, easy, you know what I'm saying? It's in good shape. And I could do sidechaining with this particular mixer. All right, so there you have it. That's the overview of my setup with the Soundcraft 22 MTK. All right, and this is the signature 22 multi-track. All right, so it has the multi-track capabilities. Okay, so there is a signature 22 that doesn't have the multi-track capabilities. It does have USB capabilities, but it doesn't have the option to have individual tracks to be multi-track. So keep that in mind if you're looking into this mixer. This is the signature 22 MTK. All right, that's the signature 22 multi-track. So I plan to do more videos about this. This is just the beginning of a series. I want to do more videos about this particular mixer and all the routing options and everything. I'll give you more examples in the future. So go ahead, stay on the lookout for that. When I actually come out with the other videos, I'll go ahead and I'll put a card so you can go ahead and just go straight to the playlist, okay? But this is what I got from now. I did the unboxing and I got this video on this mixer. Question of the day, what mixer are you currently using? Leave it in the comments below. Right on, if you liked the video, smash the like button. Go ahead, share it with your friends and neighbors and family. My name is Matthew. Continue to create, and I'll see you in the next video.